We are anonymous. No faces, no flags, no permission slips. They said the investigation into the Butler assassination attempt was closed, but new claims suggest it was never really under control in the first place. Now insiders are turning on each other, documents are being disputed, and even Trump's own circle can't agree on who shut it down or why. So the question is no longer what happened in Butler, but what exactly are they trying so hard to keep from coming out? According to discussions circulating in media spaces and podcasts, Carlson appears in conversation on Mario Nawfal platform and begins to question the official and widely accepted narrative surrounding the attempted assassination incident involving Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania in 2024. What makes this moment controversial is not just what is being discussed, but the implication that parts of the story have never been fully explained to the public. Carlson frames his remarks as a break from the scripted version of events.
To Butler, that is a fact. Dan Bongino told me that when he worked at the FBI. And Dan Bongino himself was terrified when I spoke to him in December. It's such a long, boring story, but basically I came into possession, I beg your pardon, accidentally came into possession of a lot of the social media posts that we were told didn't exist that were posted by Thomas Crooks in the months and years before the shooting. And I was amazed that the FBI had lied about this. So I called Kash Patel, and I later called Dan Bongino, and I says, what is this? I'm not attacking you. It was the previous FBI administration that did this. It was Chris Wray, but what is this? And Dan Bongino became hysterical with me on the phone. I've known Dan a long time, for many years, and always gotten along with him. Whatever his faults, nice guy, certainly very nice to me. I never had a problem with Dan, ever. And that problem began when I brought this information to his attention, and he became a different person. He was clearly terrified. I didn't get it at first, but he was hysterical. And ultimately, after a long series of text exchanges, which I still have, and phone conversations, he said, look, take it up with Trump. He's the one who shut down the investigation. And that was, I think, the first or second week of December. I think it was the beginning of the second week of December. I have it written down. But that was the moment, and I realized, oh, wow, there's no good explanation for shutting down an investigation into your own attempted murder. Like, this is not what we've been told.
At this point, the narrative pulls in another layer of media reporting, including commentary associated with Newsmax-style coverage and references to Judicial Watch. According to the materials being discussed, Judicial Watch had obtained documents from the Department of Justice that were heavily redacted FBI files connected to the Butler incident. These documents sparked debate online. Some interpretations suggested possible prior contact between the alleged shooter Thomas Crooks and a local law enforcement figure. That claim spread quickly across social platforms, fueling speculation that there were undisclosed interactions before the incident. But almost immediately pushback arrived. The FBI responded through its rapid communication channels, rejecting those interpretations as misleading. Their explanation was that the documents did not indicate any contact with police, but instead referred to interviews conducted by college instructors who had emailed Crooks regarding coursework. In their view, the circulating claims were a distortion of what the records actually showed. The FBI response was blunt, dismissing the viral interpretation as false and reinforcing that no evidence supported the idea of contact between Crooks and law enforcement. Kash Patel then amplified this correction publicly, reinforcing the message that the claims were misleading and emphasizing what he described as facts over clickbait. His post aligned with the official pushback, attempting to close the gap between speculation and institutional explanation. However, the situation did not settle. Instead, it became more complicated. Community fact-checking systems on social platforms flagged inconsistencies in multiple directions, including both the original claims and parts of the rebuttal. This created a situation where neither side appeared fully secure in the public eye. And instead of resolution, there was only more uncertainty. And while these claims remain disputed and heavily debated, their existence in public discourse alone has already reshaped how the story is being perceived. The conversation then shifts again into metaphor and political theater. Commentary surrounding the issue begins to compare the situation to professional wrestling dynamics, where outcomes appear scripted. Authority figures control narratives behind the scenes, and public drama is part of a larger performance structure. In this framing, political power is not just governance, but staging, messaging, and audience control. Donald Trump, in this metaphorical framing, becomes central not just as a political figure, but as a symbolic control point within a system that appears increasingly chaotic whenever conflicting narratives emerge. At the same time, other voices enter the discourse. Nick Fuentes is referenced delivering a blunt and dismissive critique, reducing the situation to personal judgment and suggesting that Trump lacks strategic intelligence. This perspective is not presented as analysis, but as raw commentary from within the broader political ecosystem, reflecting how fractured and emotionally charged the conversation has become even among aligned ideological spaces. So what we are left with is not a single story, but a collision of stories. And at the center of it all remains the Butler incident, no longer just a reported event, but a contested narrative space where documents, interpretations, reactions, and counter-reactions continue to accumulate. We are anonymous. We do not forget. We do not forgive. And we are still watching.